Great Monday evening. Hope you had a wonderful day in the Lord. January 27th, the last Monday of 2020, January. We are in Psalm 77. Oh my goodness, it got dark here. Yes, I'm at school and I said, you know what, let me knock this out while I'm still here, might as well. And it's in the evening time. And speaking of darkness, the Lord says in verse 6, the psalmist is talking about the Lord. I call to remembrance my song in the night. When it was dark, when it was bleak, the Lord still provided light for us and direction. In the day of my trouble, I sought the Lord. In verse 2, my soul ran in the night and ceased not. My soul refused to be comforted. And I don't know if you've ever been to a place where you're like, oh, this is my infirmity. And how do you get out of that? How do you spin out of that? Well, verse 11 and 12, I will remember the works of the Lord, even in the midst of our midnight. Surely I will remember thy wonders of old. And what's so sweet is I will meditate also of all thy work, the track record of the Lord. Maybe you don't record it. Maybe you don't put it in a journal. Maybe you don't have a diary or whatever, but you have a great memory. You will meditate on the righteousness and the faithfulness of the Lord from the past. And with that, you will talk of his doings. Thou art the God that doest wonders. Yes, even in the midst of pain, he still can do miracles. Thou hast declared thy strength among the people. So with the faithfulness of the Lord, with the track record, what are we to do? We're to be faithful. We're to give our all. Today, one of the assignments was for kids to identify, because usually at the age of 6 years old, that's when they discover their passion in life, like, ooh, something that I really love to do. If you're an adult, if you trace back something that you loved to do back then when you were 6 years old, somewhere along the way, maybe you got caught up in a career and making money, and that's great. But deep down in the hearts buried, that desire is still there. A lot of people, interested, well, of course, at least a dozen of them said basketball, and then some said dance, some said acting, some said, one said cooking, one said law, on and on. Well, the Lord puts that in your heart, and what are we to do with that in the meantime? Well, we're to be diligent with our gifts. Now, you might be saying like, oh, look at that light again. Well, what are the things that we are to do in the meantime? Because today is January 27th, we will go to Proverbs 27, verse 23. We are to know what's the condition with the gifts that the Lord has given us. Are we cultivating them? Are we developing them? Are we leaving them stagnant? Or are we trying to grow every day? Of course, we could talk about, like I said, the mamba, black mamba, but that brought me this morning to Matthew 10:16. A lot of people thought that Kobe was the one who started that term. The snake, the serpent, being fast and agile. But Matthew 10:16, the Lord said, I'm sending you among wolves. You're to be sheep. So to be wise as serpents, but harmless as doves. So we're to take on the mind of Christ. We're to know how to maneuver, how to do well in this world, and to develop the gifts that he has given us. So in Proverbs 27, be thou diligent to know the gifts and everything that the Lord has given us, and look well to thy herds. The herds will be your talents, the herds, whatever the Lord have given you to be in charge of, so that you will become the person that the Lord has meant for you to become, so that you could bless this world horizontally for such a time as this. For riches are not forever. We don't take them. So we're to bless others while we're in their lives. Amen. All right. So let's get ready for another day and thank the Lord for the opportunity to be a good steward over what he has poured into us. Have a good evening in the Lord. Get rest and go hard.